begin the service for Jennifer with Psalm 121. Esai enai el ha'arim me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai ose shamayim va'aretz. Ad iten lamot raglecha ad yanum shomrecha. Hine lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha ad yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakakav v'yarech b'layla. Adonai yishmarcha mikol ra yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmar tzeicha v'wecha me'ata v'ad olam. I lift up mine eyes unto the mountains, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. The Lord will not let your foot give way, your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian, he is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. He will guard your soul, your going and your coming, now and forever. It's a privilege to call forward Jennifer's sons, Andrew and Matthew, to speak words of eulogy, and then Dan will speak.
First, I'd like to thank everyone who came to pay their respects in person, as well as those who were unable to attend and viewing on YouTube. Our mother was the sweetest soul. She had no enemies and only treated others with kindness, love, and compassion. She was thoughtful and generous, and her and our father ensured we had anything and everything that we were loved to the fullest extent. She loved taking us back to school shopping and having us try on all the new clothes. We would tell her we didn't want to try on anything else, but we ended up loving what she picked out. She would take a picture of us every year on the first day of school, and that went all the way until we both graduated and took a final picture of Andrew in his apartment holding his college diploma. She would always be up with me early in the morning before school when I got ready for the day and wait until I would get on the bus before starting her day. We used to notice she would follow the bus route for the first few blocks. She always said that it was just a coincidence that the bus took the same route she had to take to work. We all knew that she just wanted every second she could to have with us. She would stand outside the Beechwood City Hall for hours with Debbie Goldman to ensure that we were first in line to sign up for the summer camps each year. She drove us to every basketball, soccer, or even frisbee game, to every karate, bowling, or swim lesson, to every leadership and National Honor Society event, to every first day of my 2 years of high school before busing was available. She even took me to my one and only elementary choir recital, which she filmed and would play the video from time to time. No matter the event, she would find a way to get us there on time, and she'd be front and center to support us. She loved planning our vacations, and she'd have a notebook with a handwritten itinerary for our entire trip. She knew which Disney park, which restaurant, which rides we were going on each day. She had the entire trip planned down to the smallest detail. Even when it came to packing, if it was a week-long trip, she'd help us pack 2 weeks' worth of clothes, and she had her special way of making sure everything fit in those suitcases. She cared deeply about Judaism, and her and my dad ensured we both had a proper Jewish education, starting at Temple Emmanuel, through to JDN, and finally to Gross Schechter Day School. They ensured we both had a bar mitzvah, and they gave us wonderful memories on Matt's destination bar mitzvah. She gave me the incredible opportunity to visit Israel when I was in 8th grade, and she arranged for me to be a Sunday school teacher aide at the temple while Matt was learning and preparing for his bar mitzvah. Both her and my dad chose to name my middle name after her beloved brother, Stephen. As time passed, I came to understand the amazing privilege I was given to honor Stephen's legacy. I hope one day, either myself or Matt will be able to bestow that same privilege to one of our future children to honor Jennifer's legacy. Her influence and her dedication helped me become the person I am today, and we were so lucky to have such a loving and devoted mother who is leaving us with a lifetime of wonderful memories. She touched the lives of everyone she came in contact with, and we are going to stay strong and honor her memory because that is what she would want. We love you, Mom, forever and always.
Hi everyone, thank you all for coming. I'm calling this a tribute to my wife of 27 years and my best friend of 38 years, our beloved Jennifer Beth. I met Jennifer in the cafeteria at Cleveland Heights High School in 1986 when I was 14 and she was 15 years old. I was a freshman and Jennifer was a sophomore. We quickly became friends and would spend time together like most high school aged kids. We would talk on the phone for hours and hours, and this was long before cell phones. We would hang out at the mall and go to the movies. This led to her inviting me over her house, where I got to meet her father, Mark, mother Ellen, and brothers Stephen and Scott. Since I grew up in a foster home, being part of a traditional family was something I craved in the worst way. The Pollock family welcomed me into their home and into their lives. In high school, I never brought a lunch to school, but Jennifer brought one every day. Jennifer would always share her lunch with me. Most of the time, I got half of a turkey sandwich on Wonder Bread with Miracle Whip cut directly down the center. There were many tuna sandwiches and PB&Js too. When I was a freshman, Heights High didn't have enough lockers for a large number of enrolled students, which meant I had to share a locker with another student. I had signed up for photography class and was issued an old 35mm camera to take all of the required photos for the class. Being a little naive, I placed the camera into my shared locker. Of course, one day when I came back to the locker, the camera was gone. There was no evidence as to who took the camera, but nonetheless, it was gone. Our teacher, Mr. Jordan, said I would have to replace the camera, which I didn't take too seriously at the time. 4 years later, I had to purchase the school a brand new 35mm camera to participate in our graduation ceremony and to obtain my diploma. At the same time I enrolled in photography, Jennifer was taking a photojournalism class. Being as kind as she was, Jennifer let me use her camera and her negatives. Her generosity helped me pass photography class. We also spent a lot of time in the school's dark room developing photos. I'm not gonna lie, we kissed more than once in that dark room. One time there was a radio contest where you had to listen for a code word in the morning, then call back in the afternoon knowing that code word. One day Jennifer won the contest. The code word was cigarette capri pants. Even now, if I mentioned cigarette capri pants to Jennifer, she would look over at me and smile. The radio station prize she won was a limo ride to Beechwood Place and a $1,000 shopping spree. Being as kind as she was, Jennifer let me use part of her winnings to purchase a Nintendo video game system. We had a blast in the limo and at the mall that day. As time went on, our connection grew. The Pollocks tragically lost their son Stephen to cancer. I had already lost my mother to cancer as a young child. Both of us losing loved ones served to solidify our bond. Since Jennifer graduated a year before me, I remember asking her if we'd stay together, not seeing one another every day. She said, "We'll always be together." And sure enough, my senior year proved to be the loneliest year for me in high school. Jennifer and I would spend as much time together as we could in the evenings and on weekends. If you fast forward to 1995, Jennifer and I moved into an apartment together. I had just graduated from Cleveland State University. We knew it was time to get engaged, and we did. We got married in April of 1997, and by 1999, we had purchased our first home in South Euclid. When Jennifer and I knew we would be getting our home in South Euclid, we went to the animal shelter and we fell in love with a kitten. Even though pets weren't allowed in our apartment, we didn't care since we knew we would be moving soon. So we brought a kitten home. Our landlady, Norma, lived downstairs from us. Jennifer and I did the best we could to cover up the kitten's noise. He meowed all the time. Anytime we would leave the house, we would play music on a stereo in a feeble attempt to cover up his noise. It must have been effective because Norma never mentioned the kitten to us. Another time I took the kitten to a vet appointment. After the vet appointment, I pulled into the driveway. I didn't see Norma, so I put the kitten into a burlap sack I had with me. My plan was to run upstairs as fast as I could with the kitten in the sack to avoid Norma seeing me from her window. Suddenly, I remember seeing Norma open her door to greet me. I did an about-face and walked back to the car. Norma seemed confused and went away. To this day, we don't know how I was able to get the kitten upstairs in a burlap sack without Norma noticing. Jennifer and I loved that kitten, and he was part of our lives for almost 20 years. Jennifer and I were so excited the day we got the key to our first house. We slept in sleeping bags on the floor, since our furniture wouldn't arrive for a few more days. Getting our first house was the starting point for Jennifer and I to build a family. Jennifer and I wanted to build a family that had a foundation of stability, the stability to go home with two loving parents, which is something I never had, and that's precisely what we did. Andrew was born in 2001 and Matthew in 2004. At great sacrifice, we were able to send the boys to Jewish Day Nursery and Großschecter Day School, where they had an opportunity to learn Judaism along with their general studies. As Andrew approached the 9th grade, we knew we didn't want to send him to South Euclid Lyndhurst Public Schools for high school, so we decided to build a new home in Paynesville, which is in the Riverside School District. As a family, we spent countless hours selecting every detail of our new home, including the full basement, which houses Jennifer's Lego collection, along with my arcade games, the Generac backup generator, the jacuzzi tub in our master bathroom, and the Uba Tuba fireplace tile. We even went to the granite supplier to choose the exact granite slab that was used in our kitchen island and countertops. Our new home was just another part of our journey to provide our family with a stable and loving home. Since we've been in our new home, it's been our tradition to host Thanksgiving for our family and extended family every year. Jennifer worked at Citizens Bank for more than 20 years, where she was an officer of the bank. She held roles in loan operations, sales support, and treasury management. She won countless service awards, including the coveted Citizens Bank Credo Award. The outpouring and love and support from her friends and colleagues at Citizens Bank has been nothing short of remarkable. She is truly loved by her colleagues and friends at Citizens Bank. I would like to honor and thank Jennifer for the support she provided me while I've been employed at LexisNexis Risk Solutions. Similar to Jennifer's tenure at Citizens Bank, I've been employed at LexisNexis Risk Solutions for nearly 20 years. For the first 15 years, I traveled extensively, and by extensively, I mean platinum status on Continental Airlines, 1K status on United Airlines, and executive platinum status on American Airlines. This meant at least 120 flights a year for 15 years. I've traveled the world, and I've been to 47 states. Whenever the flight I was on touched down, I would immediately turn my phone on and send her a text to let her know I landed safely. I sent texts to Jennifer from Hong Kong, Shanghai, Taipei, Amsterdam, Paris, London, Toronto, Guam, Anchorage, and Las Vegas. I would also send her the same text from the not-so-glamorous destinations like Hartford, Grand Forks, Chattanooga, Sioux Falls, and Birmingham, to name just a few. Jennifer's reply was always the same: "Come home, Daddy." I would also like to thank my colleagues and friends from LexisNexis Risk Solutions for their love and kindness. Jennifer was the rock of stability at home when I traveled the world for work. She was the one to make sure the boys never missed a soccer match, band practice, or doctor's appointment. With all of the travel, I would occasionally have the opportunity to get bumped to a later flight so we get a free airline ticket to use on our next Disney vacation. I would always call Jennifer before agreeing to be bumped to a later flight. Many times her reply was, "I don't care about the money, just come home, Daddy." For the record, we did collect a number of bump tickets over the years. Jennifer and I adore our sons, Andrew and Matthew. Jennifer was involved in every aspect of their lives. Whatever they needed or wanted, Jennifer took care of. She used the Life 360 app not to spy on the boys, but to make sure they were safe. The four of us were home together for the duration of the COVID lockdown. The second half of Matthew's freshman year and his full sophomore year at Riverside High School was virtual, and the second half of Andrew's freshman year and his full sophomore year at The Ohio State University was also virtual. I had been working home for many years already, and Jennifer adjusted to working from home in no time. Looking back, the COVID lockdown allowed us to spend quality time together as a family unit, which I will always cherish. In an attempt to not get COVID, Jennifer and I would drive a bit further away from home to shop at a less crowded grocery store. It took us a while to trust or even want any takeout food, so we got creative. Making homemade pizza became a family event. Teriyaki stir fry was a favorite. We finally started cooking with wine. And we even found a virtual online chocolate tasting where the chocolates were FedExed to us. The chocolate tastings became one of our favorite things to do as a family during the lockdown. Towards the end of the pandemic, Andrew and I got COVID, but not at the same time. We both spent 2 weeks quarantined in our basement. Jennifer took care of us both. Whatever we wanted, she would bring to us. I couldn't wait to get better so we could get back to spending time together as a family. And the four of us were a family unit. For me, the hardest enduring pain is the splitting up of our family unit. The four of us are extremely close. It's been a joy for Jennifer and I to be involved in Andrew and Matthew's lives. As the old cliche goes, families that play together stay together. And let me tell you, we played together. The four of us have been to Walt Disney World more times than we can count. When you arrive at your Walt Disney World hotel, they say, "Welcome home." Our family truly feels like we are at home at Walt Disney World. Jennifer loved to plan our Walt Disney World trips. As a family, we would decide which hotel to stay at. Jennifer would then plan the dining reservations for each meal. And if we couldn't get a reservation at a particular restaurant, Jennifer and I would check for cancellations on the Disney app every day. Jennifer loved planning our fast passes and fireworks parties at each park. Jennifer would watch YouTube videos every day from Disney influencers such as the Tim Tracker, Paging Mr. Morrow, JoJo's World, and Super Enthused, just to keep up with what's going on at Walt Disney World. The four of us knew we were guaranteed to have a fantastic vacation every time we went to Walt Disney World because of the efforts of Jennifer. And Jennifer's planning didn't stop with Disney reservations. As a family, we've been on more Caribbean cruises than we can count. We've been on Princess, Carnival, and Royal Caribbean. Jennifer loved selecting our adjoining cabins. She would plan our dining times and excursions at each port. We love renting cabanas on the ocean at the cruise line's private islands. We would snorkel, have lunch, and relax as a family in paradise. Matthew had a chance to try blackjack on our most recent cruise where the gambling age is 18. He asked if there was anywhere else he could play blackjack, being only 19 years old. We learned that the only place to play on land at this age is Canada, so Jennifer planned a weekend trip for us to go to Niagara Falls over spring break, and we had a blast. We always had our next vacation planned because we loved spending time together. Jennifer loved to watch the television shows she was interested in. It didn't matter if they were on DirecTV, Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Max, or Netflix, because we subscribed to them all. She loved Hallmark movies and Lifetime movies. She also loved reality TV shows like Survivor, The Amazing Race, and Big Brother. A few of Jennifer's things that I want to just list out are the following, and I've mentioned some of these, but if I repeat it, I don't care. She loved building Legos. This was something she found she enjoyed doing during the COVID lockdown. She loved Walt Disney World and watching YouTube videos every day. Disney collectibles, cruises, playing and winning slot machines. Jennifer was so lucky. She won multiple slot jackpots. Most recently, she won 2 jackpots this past June. She loved riding our Peloton bike. She loved maple syrup and anything maple flavored. She loved macaroni and cheese, fettuccine Alfredo with chicken. She loved cats, kittens, but most of all our cat Cinnamon. She would spoil Cinnamon with new toys and treats. She loved Honda CRVs. She loved Ryan Homes, but more specifically our Ryan Home. She loved tuna melts, broccoli cheese soup, Honeycrisp apples, and other varieties of apples that we found at Sage's Apples or Patterson Fruit Farm. She loved Sage's gold corn on the cob. She loved picking out pumpkins and other festive fall decorations for our home. She loved Sunday drives when the leaves are at peak fall colors. She loved hanging up lights for Hanukkah. I wouldn't let her call them Christmas lights, and there weren't any Hanukkah bushes either, but she always wanted one. She loved to drink water. She would drink bottles and bottles of water every day. She loved extra pillows. Jennifer always slept with a lot of extra pillows. She loved shoveling the snow in our driveway. Even though we pay someone to plow our driveway, she would always go out before or after the plow came to shovel the driveway. She loved spending weekends at home with us as a family and making dinners for us. She loved watching TV and movies, reading books on her Kindle, shopping for herself, the boys, or me. She loved mint chocolate chip ice cream, chocolate ice cream, and getting her hair done from Kim Moyer, our family stylist, for 25 years. She loved polishing her nails, cross-stitching, creative writing. She loved our king-size, fully adjustable bed. She loved making homemade chocolate chip cookies, making homemade lasagna. She loved judging Christmas lights displays in our development. She never forgot birthdays, anniversaries, or special occasions for family or friends. She was one of the most thoughtful and caring individuals I've ever known. She also put up with me a lot over the years. Years ago, before Andrew and Matthew were born, we had season tickets to the Cleveland Crunch indoor soccer team. Jennifer and I sat at the CSU Convocation Center, which is now the Wolfstein Center, to witness the Crunch win the league championship 3 times, but I'm not sure she really liked going to any of the games. The numerous times I would fly out of Cleveland Hopkins Airport for work, only to learn my flight home had been canceled for weather or whatever mechanical reason. However, I could get a flight home to Akron-Canton. Jennifer would pick me up at the Akron-Canton Airport at some crazy hour just to take me to my car at Hopkins Airport. The reverse also happened flying out of Akron-Canton and finding the only way back home was through Cleveland Hopkins Airport. Jennifer and I became wizards at determining any flight rerouting that would allow me to come home to be with her and the boys. And by the way, with elite status, the airlines bent over backwards to get me on those reroutings. They were known to bump other passengers just to get me onto one of those flights. I used whatever tricks I knew to get home to be with her and the boys, including landing in Detroit on several occasions just to rent a car to get to my car at Cleveland Hopkins Airport. By the time I made my way to Cleveland Hopkins Airport from Detroit, all of the flights for the day had already landed in Cleveland. I would be the only person waiting for the parking lot shuttle driver to pick me up to take me to my car. A confused shuttle driver would ask me what flight I was on. They always looked so stunned to know that I drove to Cleveland from Detroit so late, and sometimes this was in the middle of winter. It didn't matter what the circumstances were. Jennifer just wanted me to be home with her and the boys. If I would get out of the shower when she was blow drying her hair, she would turn the blow dryer on to warm me up and dry me off. Whatever crazy situation came up, Jennifer was always there for me, Andrew, and Matthew. As parents, Jennifer and I couldn't be prouder of Andrew and Matthew. Andrew graduated from the Ohio State University with honors and a degree in logistics management. He has a fantastic position at First Aid School Supplies in Hinckley. We cannot thank Connie and Mike Meadows and the Meadows family enough for taking Andrew in as part of their extended family. Andrew loves his role. He comes home energized every single day. Andrew looked forward to calling Jennifer every day on his drive home so he could tell her how his day went. Matthew is in his 2nd year at the Ohio State University. His goal is to become a physical therapist. Matt, Mom and I know you'll succeed and be a fantastic physical therapist. Andrew, Matthew, and I had time to reflect a bit this week. The 3 of us couldn't come up with a single bad memory of Jennifer. She was the best mom and wife our family will ever know. We also had a chance to spend some time with her yesterday. She is no longer suffering and she's in peace. Jennifer, to you I say, the boys and I love you, we adore you, and we think about you and miss you every minute of every single day for the rest of our lives.
And to those words, let us say amen.
Amen.
She was filled with a lot of love, and she loved you, many of you here. Yeah, the microphone I always have to, just not getting any taller here. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, yimru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. We gather to grieve and console in response to the death of your dear Jennifer Polar, Yocheved Baracha bat Moshe David v'Chana. She was not quite 54 years old. One of the most trying experiences we undergo is to witness the suffering of a loved one. The anguish we feel over our inability to alleviate the pain is suffocating. And yet it's part and parcel of being human. And yet even when death mercifully brings deliverance, the agonizing psychological and emotional torture, we cannot help but be overwhelmed with grief. If you knew Jennifer, you did not see this coming. So we gather this morning to grieve for a loving daughter, sister, sister-in-law, aunt, wife, mother, relative, co-worker, and friend, and we gather here to console one another. It's hard to learn to live with this void in our hearts. Our first impulse is just to cry out. In such a condition, we need all the help we can get. If you're a person that knows these people deeply and you say to them, give me a call if you need anything, do them a favor. Don't wait for them to call you. You call them. And be a nudnik. A nudnik in Yiddish means a pest, but not a bad pest. Just, check in and make the phone call, because when you're on the other end of this, you're just lost. You don't know who to call or what to do or when to call. You call. So we need all the help we can get. And one of the reasons that we read from our sacred scriptures, from Sefer Tehillim, from the book of Psalms, is very often we find companionship, we find comfort, we find solace from souls who have been similarly stricken. King David is a hero in Judaism, not because he was a powerful man politically, but because he was powerful in keeping his checks and his nerves in balance. What specific situation he endured as he wrote the 23rd Psalm, we do not know. However, our sages teach David was in desperate straits. He was hiding from a deranged King Saul, and he was in a barren forest without food or drink. So this psalm gives voice to the belief that God supports us and nourishes us even when a situation seems hopeless. Psalm 23 has provided many generations with a rod and a staff of support, even in the shadow of despair. And together let us recite in the English the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Your dear Jennifer was born November 13th, 1970. Her parents, Mark and Ellen. She was one of 3 children. Jennifer was the eldest. Jennifer of blessed memory. And twins Stephen and Scott. Stephen is of blessed memory as well. Scott and his wife Amanda are in Atlanta. As you know, she married her dear Dan on April 6, 1977. 97, I just can't read. I'm going to need you for detail work. Always detail work. Married April 6, 1997, 27 years. When you get married, you hope you get to those crooked numbers and that you keep growing. And our heart breaks for you. Children, Andrew, Tzvi, and Matthew Mordechai in the Hebrew. Call all the kids by the Hebrew names. Sister-in-law Liz and her dear husband David. When they were talking about the cruises, the Caribbean cruises, Mordechai, Matthew became bar mitzvah on a cruise. I'm like, why didn't you call the rabbi? I mean, what's going on here? But that's okay. Dan, I wanted to remember something in front of everybody. In 2014, a little bit after the time that Tzvi became bar mitzvah, and we take our usual trip to Alaska every summer, you actually gave us some points to be able to upgrade to first class to go to Alaska. No, I mean, that was so awesome. We're not looking for that again. I'm just saying, it was just so wonderful. When you talked about all those points, I'm like,
Yeah.
Wow.
Even the rabbi partook in it.
Even the rabbi. Ellen and Mark, you said she was a wonderful daughter and a mother. She was kind and she was thoughtful. And to Ellen, you said she was my best friend. Jennifer was quiet and shy, and she didn't talk much. But if you put her on the phone, she didn't stop talking. Her mother said, yak, 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 yak. Just kept talking, which is actually a beautiful thing when you're driving in the car and going places. She was a provider for the boys and for her husband, as you well know. And in her final days, she wasn't ever left alone. The family made sure someone was there at night, someone was there during the day. In some ways, she didn't like to be left alone anyway. It was one of her character traits, which is a beautiful, loving character trait. And for all those years of travel, you made sure she wasn't alone. And when she got sick, and it was clear that there wasn't anything more that really could be done, you made sure she wasn't left alone, which is a beautiful, loving thing. I asked how she cooked, and then they told me, well, she taught the boys how to cook. And then she made turkey for Thanksgiving. Now, Thanksgiving is an incredibly important meal. If you can make Thanksgiving turkey, if you don't do a lot of cooking the rest of the year, but you can make Thanksgiving turkey, you're golden. Sunday morning, she breathed her last. It's been a difficult journey. And she breathed her last, and now she's at peace. And just like the Sabbath day is a day of rest and wholeness and peace, so too for our dear Jennifer, it's a time of rest and wholeness and peace. Our Jewish tradition teaches that we place the body in the ground, however the soul returns to God. And her soul will be together with the soul of her dear relatives and friends and the ancestors of our people. We learn this in Ecclesiastes 12, verse 7. The dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. One day all of us will be together in Olam Haba, which is it's a time, not a place. This is a place. Olam Haba is an eternal time, and our souls will be together, the souls of our loved ones. God judges everyone's soul. God will take good care of her soul. We're sending along an old prayer book and a Passover Haggadah with her in the casket. It's a mitzvah to provide respectful burial for holy books of our tradition as well as for the body, the remains of our loved one. We're sending along a Passover Haggadah in particular because Pesach is a time when we give thanks to God for our ancient liberation from Egyptian slavery. We're free today because of God's deliverance those many, many years ago. And although we wanted many more years than almost 54 years, she's now liberated from the illness and the suffering that she was enduring. And so we're grateful for that. At least she's free of that, and she's been liberated from that. Your memories are filled to overflowing, and we give thanks to God for this gift of life. Even in our sadness, we're grateful for the years we had with her and the memories and the stories and the foods that we will eat and even the cat. Absolutely. We're grateful for those. And so as you think of her, try to give a smile, talk to somebody on the phone, make a phone call, and let us be kind and caring and helpful and compassionate, and let us do these things in her loving memory. And so we say with tears in our eyes words from the first chapter of the book of Job. Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevarach. The Lord hath given, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And let us say,
Amen.
Amen. And now we will lower the casket. And then we will do El Malei Rachamim. And after the El Malei Rachamim, we'll do Kaddish, and then we'll place earth upon the casket.